We have become obsessed with identity. Who we are, what we look like, what we label ourselves, what category we fit into. We are being taught to define ourselves based on things we didn't even choose, to take pride in things we had zero control over. But here's the truth, your identity doesn't really matter. And the more you fixate on it, the more you are just wasting your life. You don't get to choose your race. You don't get to choose your gender. You don't get to choose your sexual orientation. You didn't choose where you were born, your genetics, or the family you were born into. Yet somehow society has convinced us that these things define who we are, that we should celebrate them, that everyone must celebrate them, that they should be the core of our identity. But why? That makes no sense. What did you actually do to earn these things? When you build your entire sense of self around things that you didn't even choose, you're not actually building anything. There's no effort, there's no achievement, there's no personal growth, just a label that was handed to you. And when people define themselves by labels instead of actions, they stop focusing on what truly makes them valuable. The truth is, you aren't special because of your identity. You're special because of what you do. And yet, instead of focusing on the things that we contribute, we focus on the things that separate us. The more we fixate on labels, the more divided we become. Because when you constantly focus on identity, you stop seeing people as unique individuals. You start seeing them as categories. You start assuming things about them based on the category that they fit into, based on a checkbox. And what happens when people divide themselves into categories? They start seeing the other groups as the enemy. It creates a you versus them scenario rather than us. It reinforces racism, sexism, discrimination, hatred. It builds walls between people that could have been united and should have been. Because instead of looking at someone and seeing them as a human first, you see them as the label that's on the surface. You see their race, you see their gender, you see their political view, and suddenly they're not like you. And this is why society is broken. Despite how much we are fighting racism, it probably exists more than it ever has. Why do you think that is? Because instead of uniting as humans, we are splitting into tribes and fighting over superficial differences. And the more we focus on these differences, the less we see what actually connects us. Because the truth is, we are all the same. Every person on this planet wants the exact same basic things: to be happy, to be safe, to be respected, to be free. We all want these things, but the more we focus on our differences, the less opportunity we give ourselves to be any of these things. And the irony is, the very obsession with identity, the thing that we think is empowering us, is the very thing that is making the world more divided and miserable. At the end of the day, no one is going to remember you for your labels. And even if they do, is that something that you really want? To be reduced to a checkbox? To have everything you've built, every struggle you've overcome, every moment of kindness or courage overshadowed by something as stupid as the way you look? You are so much more than a label. Stop letting that define you. Instead of celebrating things that were just handed to you, celebrate the things that you have earned, the things that you've worked hard for, the skills that you've developed, the battles that you've fought and won, the wisdom you've gained through experience, and the kindness that you've chosen to give to others. These are the things that actually define you. If you really want peace If you really want to live in a world that is less divided, less hateful, less broken, that starts with you. You have the power to change the world. You also have the power to not shove your identity down other people's throats. Because the truth is, no one really cares about your identity. So let's start by stopping the cycle of labeling. Let's start by choosing to see people for who they truly are, not just the category they fit into. Because if all you do is just cling to identity politics, tribalism, groupthink, you're just making the problem worse. The bottom line is, your identity doesn't matter. What matters is what you make of yourself. So stop clinging to labels. Stop obsessing over superficial shit. Go out there and prove with your actions who you actually are. And if enough people start doing that, then maybe, just maybe, we can actually start putting this world back together.